What's good with YouTube? You already know, Big Flocka with a convict's perspective, and I'm smashing, dashing, sliding on through with that little bit of energy. Please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to help support the algorithm, man. As I keep on pushing this channel, hit that bell notification, man. So check it out. I got a special fucking exclusive information that just came out. It's about the Sheriff Civilian Oversight Commission, who investigated this Los Angeles Sheriff's Department for gangs. Okay, I'm gonna read some of this and I'm gonna kind of speed through it, man, and give you guys my perspective. Now, this is coming directly from the documents. In November 2021, the Sheriff Civilian Oversight Commission directed the chair of the COC to engage pro bono special counsel to assist COC investigate the existence and activities of problematic deputies and problematic deputy groups, often referred to as deputy gangs, cliques, within the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. So it just goes into the basics. By March 2022, a pro bono team of special counsel were engaged by the county and the Loyola School Center for Juvenile Law and Policy, and the COC launched the investigation of deputy gangs and cliques. The investigation included interviews of numerous members and former members of the department and review of numerous members and former members through documents, court filings, deposition transcripts, public statements by department representatives, published reports relating to prior investigations, and numerous relevant media reports. To date, the COC has conducted 7 public hearings devoted to investigation, most of which the taking of witness testimony under oath pursuant to the COC's subpoena authority. So this gets good, guys, right here, okay? The report and recommendation is the result of the special counsel's investigation on behalf of the COC. It is in 2 parts: factual findings and recommendation entitled to the existence of deputy gangs and cliques in Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, and recommendations to rid the department of deputy gangs and cliques. A word about nomenclature used in this report. Special counsel has chosen to use the term deputy gangs. Okay, let's go to the facts. The department currently contains several active groups that have been and still are engaged in harmful, dangerous, and often illegal behavior. Some of these groups have engaged in acts of violence, threatened acts of violence, placed fellow deputies at risk of physical harm, engaged in acts celebrating the officers involved, shootings, and created a climate of physical fear and professional retribution to those who would speak publicly about the misconduct of such groups. Deputy cliques that evolve into deputy gangs meet the definition of law enforcement in California Penal Code, Section 13670. The problem they cause in the department, however, go beyond the gang-like behavior. Deputy cliques are rooted in secrecy and exclusivity, undermining the department's leadership and supervision, foster insubordination, and are detrimental on the morale of deputies and staff by exercising power decisions, making that is a fundamentally inconsistent with paramilitary chain of command structure of law enforcement agencies. Oh, this gets good. That's Penal Code 13670. Okay, let's go into a little bit further. As part of their investigation, right, it's saying right here, right? I'm going to look up the terminology. The commission's, okay, special counsel attended virtual briefings by the former sheriff Alex Villanueva and repeatedly sought to meet with former sheriff and his undersheriff, Timothy Murakami. They declined to meet or be interviewed. Of course they declined. Okay. Factual findings. Deputy gangs and deputy cliques have existed in Los Angeles Sheriff's Department since 1973. Wow. That year, an internal department memo dated December 5th, 1973, documented the existence of a group known as the Little Devils and identified 38 members. In 1992, the Colts Commission report confirmed the existence of deputy gangs and cliques in the department, called the Vikings. After holding evidentiary hearings in Los Angeles in 1993 and 96, the Commission on Civil Rights in 1999 issued a report. 2012, the Citizens Commission of Jail Violence found that deputy cliques existed in patrol and on certain floors of the men's central jail. This is getting good, guys. The Los Angeles Inspector General Max Hudspeth testified before COC, right? As part of his investigation, the COC received and reviewed a September 13, 2004 memorandum. Inappropriate and potential damaging behavior. Mexican Mafia rumored to be a small select group of deputies of Hispanic descent. They have been accused of holding positions of influence within the station. detectives, scheduling, watch, and training. Wow. And are alleged to control much of the negative behind the scenes activities such as fundraising through means of unit level extortion. Wow. So they had a Mexican mafia within the Los Angeles department. It has nothing to do with the traditional Mexican mafia. Then they had the regulators by 2007. A group, okay, they were at the Century Station. The regulators' philosophy is that if a sergeant, lieutenant, or captain was weak at Century Station, they would run over them. Wow, this shit's crazy. In 2012, they found a new one called the Jump Out Boys. Members of the Jump Out Boys shared a common number that depicts a red-eyed skull wearing a bandana with the letters OSS, holding a revolver next to an ace of spades, and an ace of spades, the so-called dead man's hand in poker. Wow, this shit's fucking crazy. When the line, let me see, hold on. The creed recited members understand when the line need to be crossed and crossed back, and they sometimes need to do things they want to in order to get where they want to be. Fuck, this shit's fucking crazy. I've never seen nothing like this, God. I did not know that these groups had that much, influence as far as what they were doing. So, let me see, where we at? So we went over all this. They had a black book that records the date of every deputy involved shooting that authorized each shooter to embellish his common tattoo with smoke coming out of the gun. 7 jump out boy members were fired, but because there was no clear policy against joining a deputy gang at the time, the Civil Service Commission reinstated 4 of them. It is indisputable that for nearly 50 years, deputy gangs and deputy cliques have existed within the department. According to numerous witnesses, deputy gangs and deputy cliques are embedded in the culture of the department, either tolerated or ignored. Indeed, during the tenure of Sheriff Baca, the undersheriff Paul Tanaka was a tattooed member of the Vikings. According to numerous witness interviews, former Sheriff Villanueva's undersheriff Tim McCormick had a caveman tattoo. So it goes on to further. Okay, there's all kinds of these deputy gangs. They findings confirm the existence of 2,000 to 3,000 boys on 2nd and 3rd floor of MCJ. Many of these deputies were transferred out of jail to patrol. The 3,000 boys, that's a whole different gang, guys. The 2,000 boys were at Central Station and became the Spartans. The 3,000 boys went to Compton Station. The deputy cliques share harmful characteristics. While not all deputy cliques engage in identical unprofessional conduct, most share at least some of the following characteristics, and they have done and continue to do certain acts of unprofessionalism. This stuff is crazy. Let me see. Okay, I'm reading more, guys. I'm not trying to read the whole thing because it's long, but I'm going to put it here in the post for you guys to read as well, guys. This stuff gets deep, guys. I mean, these deputies have been establishing gangs within the department for years. If you are a member of a law enforcement gang, you cannot be trusted. You cannot be relied upon. Your credibility is lacking. And that came from Lieutenant Eric Strong, 22 years on the squad. Deputies sued in civil lawsuits arising from the alleged use of excessive force cost the taxpayers of Los Angeles County tens of millions of dollars in judgments. Wow, upwards to $55 million. Now here's a list of the gangs. Compton Station. Lieutenant Larry Wally testified that the COC that he was a tattooed member of a deputy group known as the Gladiators. He obtained the tattoo during his initial tour of duty at Compton Station, and that another group known as the Executioners subsequently ran aspects of the station. Wallace said that Compton was a fast station and was considered a desirable post for deputies wanting exposure to incidents of crime requiring active law enforcement. Wally testified that many of the executioners had served on the 3,000th floor of MCJ. The CCJV know the existence of the 3,000 boys in MCJ. And some of them were on the 4,000 boys. Another witness currently assigned to Compton Station disclosed that deputies who had worked on the 3,000 floor at MCJ received preferential treatment at Compton. Waldy testified that Deputy Juarez was a shot caller. So they had a deputy that was a shot caller. The commission received evidence that Juarez participated in 4 officer-involved shootings. Juarez subsequently was removed from patrol, but he was returned to patrol after Sheriff Villanueva took office. Waldy identified Deputy Reese, Cuevas, Barajas, Ingersoll, Reza, and Rubin as executioners. Wow. They excluded memberships to anyone that was African American or females. Wow. Let me see. Other officers that testified. Deputy Aldama and his partner, Mizrain Orega, were named as defendants in 2 separate shootings. Sheldon Lockett and Dante Taylor. In each instance, the deputies claimed that the victims had guns. In neither case was a gun located. The county settled both cases out of court. Waldy testified that the executioners held positions of authority during his time at the Compton station. Man, this shit gets even more. You guys are going to have to read this whole article, man. So the Compton boys seem pretty bad. Okay, East L.A. station, okay? Much public testimony before the COC focused upon the East L.A. station, and particularly on an incident at the Kennedy Hall involving a brutal beating inflicted upon junior deputies by senior deputies who were members of the Banditos. The behavior can only be fairly described as that of a gang. The episode resulted in widely publicized civil litigation brought by the victim deputies against the Bandito deputies. Wow. Okay, let me see. They talk about Kennedy Hall incident, where they got a lot of negative feedback. They talk about the East L.A. station. Now, finally, there has been substantial evidence that the admission and potential criminal investigation into the Kennedy Hall incident was obstructed at the direction of former Sheriff, then Chief of Staff Larry Delmace, an acknowledged tattoo member of the Grim Reapers. Fucking that Grim Reapers, fucking executionators, banditos. These dudes sound like fucking like biker gangs, man. Kennedy Hall beatdown. Sergeant Chow testified that he believed the conduct of the assaulting deputies was criminal, but that he was directed not to ask questions about subculture. Wow. So it seems like these guys pretty much did as they wanted. Retired Joseph Gordon described the early portion of his career at the East L.A. station in the presence of members of the Cavemen. Years later, when Gooden was chief, he oversaw the Kennedy Hall investigation. An anonymous witness currently stationed at the East L.A. station testified using a voice distorter because of fear of physical and professional retribution. The witness identified current shot callers at East L.A. as Deputy Ortiz, and the witnesses testified that Rene Munoz, one of the defendants in civil litigation relating to the Kennedy Hall. The anonymous witness also identified the broad authority of scheduling deputy, a bandito at the East LA station, who gave assignments, scheduled days off, and vacations. So they pretty much were putting themselves in position to take care of their own. The witness also testified to various means of intimidation and ostracism inflicted by banditos upon non-banditos. This included a locker room argument in which a bandito pointed his gun at the head of another deputy. The turning of backs was a disfavored deputy entered the hallway or room. So these guys, if they had someone they had issues with, they just turned their back on them. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Another witness who insisted upon anonymity described how a training officer humiliated trainees, especially women at the East LA station. A training officer at East LA station required the trainees to keep the car fully stocked. Man, this is... The stocking of the car was a form of the tax imposed by banditos. So they were taxing dudes. These dudes were fucking... man, this shit's fucking crazy, guys. You guys, man, I don't know how there's not more attention on this, man. There was allegedly 12 to 15 banditos, they're saying. Okay, the witness testified that there was also associate deputies who wished to be initiated and were chasing ink. One incident that the witnesses regarded as chasing ink involved the transportation of a shooting victim to a hospital. The witness stated that the deputies went off route and assaulted the victim. Such conduct can only be viewed as the act of a gang member and is indisputable harm to the community. Oh, man. Let me see. There's so much stuff, man. I think you guys get to the base of this whole you know what I'm saying? There's so many different gangs that they had formed in these East L.A., Compton were the main stations. I'm trying to see if there's any additional ones. East L.A. seemed like they were the most active. It seemed like Compton were the ones that you had to be gun-ho, though. They had Century Station as well. They had the Lenox Station as well. That was in South L.A. They were called, let me see. All right, so I'm going to roughly go through all these ones real quick for you guys, man, because it's pretty much, a lot of it's repetitive. So Lenox, they had $10 million in complaints they had to serve, right? Let me see. They had a deputy who threatened to shoot an African-American civilian sitting in his car in a parking lot. Let me see. The Reapers. That's what they were known as, the Reapers. Okay, it seemed like they had a lot of issues towards African-American civilians. And so they would seek warrants that were not validated, they're saying. Let me see, non-Reaper. Let me see, what else do they have up in here? This stuff is really deep, guys. Century Station. The 2000 and 3000 boys. We already heard about them. Lancaster and Palmdale. They had a lot of Reapers at this location. So the Reapers may have been the bigger groups out of all these. They had the ghetto. The group is widely referred to ghetto birds in Aro Borough. And the three as shot callers. So they had three individuals, it looks like, right? Or three, okay. The ghetto bird was the logo. They had, man, this shit's fucking crazy, guys. Anyways, man, I think you guys get the gist of things, man. So these sheriff gangs have been around for a long time, man. And a lot of them are really have derogatory remarks. Their actions are unprofessional. And they target a lot of African Americans as well as other Hispanics, right? Most of them are either Hispanic or white, I'm noticing from the list. You know what I'm saying? Different areas, you have to be of different caliber to go. Like places like the Compton Station, MCJ Station, and East L.A. It seemed like those places had a lot of pull and respect based upon, not respect, fear. They were feared. These guys operated almost like an organization. And these gangs go back to 1973. That's what surprises me, man, that it's been able to go on for so long and no one's dropped a whistle on these guys, man. That tells you one thing, that these guys were feared. Maybe they had resources where people could shut them down at any time, man. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes politics that are being played, man. Anyways, man, tap in. I'm going to post this link for you guys to check out, man. This is Flacco Coffee's Perspective. I'm out.